Thanks for coming back. Let's talk about fat, especially crappy fat, like, takeaway meals, deep fried chicken, cheap cheese, pizza fat, crap like that, and how it affects the communication in your gut. I read this interesting study conducted at Duke University. I think it was published in December 2019. Let's have a look. Fatty meal can interrupt the gut's communication with the body, but why? So you've got these cells throughout your particularly small intestine. They're dotted here or there. The higher concentration will be further up, closer to the stomach, near the duodenum or the duodenum. So these endocrine cells can produce up to 15 different types of hormones that they secrete, and these influence many things. So basically, this is how the small intestine communicates with the rest of the body, through these cells. And we're talking about insulin resistance, we're talking about the sensation of fullness, about energy storage, many different aspects of digestion, absorption, and particularly utilization of the nutrients is affected by the endocrine cells. So these cells basically communicate no different from how an Apple iPhone communicates with the outside world. But what they found, they did a study involving fish. I know fish aren't humans, and fish can't ride bicycles and stuff like that. I know all that, but still, it's interesting what they discovered with these fish that were bred to be germ-free. And they gave them this sort of fatty meal, and they found that there was a lag. The communication basically stopped for quite a big period of time, and they couldn't understand that. And they feel that this could be partly responsible for why some people, if they don't get that communication occurring between eating, and the rest of the gut and the body, that people can overeat. They can develop insulin sensitivity and even push people into type 2 diabetes. I have a good friend of mine pass away 2 years ago, Paul, and Paul only died when he was 58. Paul was a type 1 diabetic, but Paul couldn't stop eating. He was a big guy, and he just kept on eating and eating and eating. He'd eat a full meal, and then, say at our place, and then later on socially, he'd just go through the takeout at McDonald's, and he'd buy a couple of burgers and some fries and then go home and eat that. And I remember talking to Paul about how dangerous it was for him to eat like this. And and I got the terrible phone call one day from his daughter that he passed away on a Sunday morning. It was just awful. And I could see it coming. I could see it coming, just like I could see a train hitting, just crashing. You can see it if you open your eyes. But it's really distressing when you see it happen to one of your own friends. So Paul had an issue knowing when to stop eating. And the cells, these endocrine cells that we're talking about, they found a bacteria called Actinobacter. I think they're Actinobacter, that's the name of these bacteria. It's a particular type of bacteria. And it's the Acinetobacter, I call them Actinobacter. So they only make up a very small percentage of the gut. And I know they haven't really pushed this study through to humans, and they probably will do that now. They'll probably go on to rats and then probably onto humans. So particularly if they could find a breakthrough here. So what they found is these Actinobacter went from 0.1% up 100-fold or even greater. Like these numbers increased after this crappy fatty meal. And these bacteria are the ones likely responsible for changing how a person feels, if they're full or not full, if they've got insulin resistance developing or not. So what we can probably gather from this is, if you consistently eat poor food, you'll develop poor bacteria, which in turn will tell you to keep eating that food. Because remember, food calls your name, okay, if you know what I mean. Brian, Susan. Okay, and food does that. It will tell you to go to the refrigerator. It will tell you to go to the drive-through. It will tell you, like your wife tells you or your husband tells you. It will command you. And there's only one thing you're going to do when you're told what to do, and what's that? You're going to go to McDonald's. You're going to stop off at the corner store. You're going to grab that can of energy drink, or you're going to grab that chocolate bar. Now, you didn't want to do that, but something inside you told you to go and do that. It may be those Actinobacter. So when you get these feelings, no, I'm not going to McDonald's. I'm going to eat some lettuce and tomatoes instead. Okay, fight the power, if you know what I mean. So when you get these little kind of things saying you need this or that, you know it's not you, it's some bug inside you telling you what to do. It's pushing your buttons. This is when you need to push back, because believe me, once you start eating consistently healthier food, all right, you'll develop those bacteria that will also call your name, and you'll enjoy the taste and freshness. I was only saying to Tracy, my partner, the other day, how much we enjoy these fresh salads and nice food that we eat here, and that how much I miss that kind of experience when I go traveling, because we just don't get that taste and that freshness that we do from homegrown stuff. So there you have it. Bacteria calling your name. That's what it's all about. Thanks for tuning in.